what do you think of me? Okay, so right now you're probably thinking that I am a lazy procrastinator who is only doing this because I was forced to. And I bet you based that impression just on my body language and my appearance. Well, today I am here to prove you wrong. Hello, my name is Linda Herrero. I'm a student at Jefferson Elementary, and today I'm going to be talking to you about what impression your appearance makes. So how you look at work is very important because this is where you live off of, and if there's one place where you want to make a good first impression, it's here. Juanita Ecker and studies have shown that when women wear something that is too revealing or show too much skin, they give the impression that they want to be perceived as pretty instead of professional. When women wear a dress that is inappropriate or shows too much skin, they are not ready for a professional position. And finally, when men wear clothes that are wrinkled, they show sloppiness and rush. So here I have two examples, one male and one female. Here is a man wearing a suit, a tie, and some dress pants. And then right next to him is a man wearing a tank top, has lots of tattoos, and is wearing jeans. And like I said, if you want to make a good first impression, it's here. Because this is where you get your money, and this is where you live. And then here is a woman wearing a very appropriate and length appropriate and doesn't show too much skin. And she still looks professional, but at the same time, she looks pretty. And then right here is a woman wearing a dress that is too short and has a very low cut. So if you want to look professional and pretty, this is not a very great option. Just like giving any other presentation, body language is very important. According to Dr. Albert Moravian of UCLA, he said that people make a first impression of 55%. Your clothes make a total of 95% first impression due to the fact that clothes cover about 95% of your body. And finally, research has found that people make a first impression in the first 4 minutes of meeting someone. They make a total of a 90% impression, and 60 to 80% of that impression is based on pure body language and appearance. So if you've ever gone to YouTube or social media or anything like that, you've probably seen a social experiment. They range from politics to homeless people. I found two very intriguing, and one of them was by an author who did an experiment to write on his book. He went to a train station and he asked for 75 cents to buy a train ticket. The first hour he was wearing a suit and a tie. The second hour he was wearing the same suit but no tie. So he just changed a small detail. This detail had a big impact on whether people helped him or not. When he was wearing a tie, he earned a total of $26. And when he wasn't wearing a tie, he earned a total of $7. So that's a big gap for just a small detail such as a tie. The second experiment was by a YouTuber who was on his bike and then he fell off the bike. The first hour he was dressed as a homeless man, and the second hour he was dressed as a regular man. At first I thought more people would help him when he was dressed as a homeless man because he had less power over what people could do to him, and that wasn't the case. Less people helped him when he was dressed as a homeless man than when he was dressed as a regular man. A couple of years ago, I was watching a show called Once Upon a Time, and they introduced a new character. He was wearing black and gray rags that made it look like a robe. On his single hand, which should have been a big giveaway, but apparently it wasn't, he was wearing multiple silver rings. And then his acting was brilliant. He pretended to be honest, but at the same time, he seemed as a liar. So that was very great acting. But I just knew something was wrong with him and that he was lying about his personality and where he came from. And a couple of episodes later, they introduced that he was actually an evil character. And then in that moment, I felt so proud of myself. I was like, yes, you did it. You're an expert now. but I'm not an expert, so doesn't really count. And then here's a picture of him, and he's tied up, so which is never a good sign. Costume designers have a big role when it comes to making a movie or a TV show. A costume designer named Eduardo Castro said in an interview once that for the character Mary Margaret, her outfits are always very happy and bright because it reflects on her own personality, which is she's very loving and kind and is always happy. Costume designers usually go through a common process to make the costume. The first step is to read the script and to get to know the character. The second step is to meet with the directors or the writers to see what image they want to see or what representation they want to see throughout the character. The third step is to research the character. They want to see if there's any other representations or myths or legends about them so that they get inspired. Finally, the last step is to finally prosecute and design the costume. Here is a collage of a character, and I want to give you a few seconds to try to predict her personality or just try to get to know her. Okay, so if you guess that she is very strong and independent and sometimes stubborn, then you are correct. She is very strong and independent, and she doesn't like getting help from anyone. Tracy D'Annunzio said in her weblog that when women wear a lot of pants and jeans or don't show a lot of femininity, they give the impression that they want to be perceived as strong and independent, which you can clearly see here. Here is another example of another character from Yes, Once Upon a Time. And so do the same thing, give yourself a couple of seconds to try to predict her personality. Okay, so once again, she's very loving and kind and happy, and yes, she is Mary Margaret from the interview that I mentioned. So if you watch the show, then you know that she's always very happy and kind, and she's very loving. Before I leave tonight, I want to tell you to never judge a book by its cover. Even though it might contradict everything that I've been saying and what I've been showing you, you need to get to know the person in the inside, because the inside is what matters. And so, before I leave, I want to ask you again. What do you think of me? Thank you.